Baba is the avatar, like Jesus Christ. The avatar, like Jesus Christ. He suffered for us. He suffered for us. You know that. How many years of silence? He loved singing. He had a beautiful voice for singing, but he gave up his singing, sacrificed his love for talking, singing, all for us because he loved us so much. He went through so much suffering, 2 motor car accidents and other suffering, much. That's why I always I speak to Baba's photo and tell Baba that only you know how much you suffer. Even we cannot know, living with him. So what I want to tell you that you're very fortunate to love him, because now it is time for us to love him. He loved us. Now we must love him. Yes? Because he's God realized. Others you may see they just talk. They will give good talk and they gather people around them. But they're not God realized. They have a clever way of talking. They read Baba's books and they give the knowledge as if they know it. You see what I want to say? There will be many such. But don't go crooked path, the straight path to God, to Baba. Keep your path straight to Baba. There will be attractions this way, but don't be attracted. Remember this. So once you love Baba, keep loving him. Yes? And Baba said, I will never fail my lovers. So, some way or another, he's helped. He's here as if, but he's everywhere. He is. Baba said, I'm with all my lovers. Baba said that. And once Baba said that, I will never fail my lovers. This is what Baba said. So you all are very fortunate to love him. He's so compassionate. Because we, in our work and what we call, when you grow something, you're not thinking Baba. But that moment also Baba is thinking of you. He never forgets you, but we may, but he doesn't. Yes. And his grace is so, his eyes are all his lovers. He keeps an eye. Yes. Only the thing that we can't see him, he can see us. No, that's the only thing, no? So how happy you make him with your love. It's time for us to love him. He has loved us so dearly, so beautiful, his lovers. All these years he suffered for us. So, there was this, yes, Baba said many times this happened, but with me I feel and know, and if I'm born, I'll be born a woman. That's what I know. But money and everybody tells me that Baba won't let you be born again. This is what somebody tells me. I said, no, I want to come again with Baba. And Baba takes physical form, I like to come and serve him and obey him, make him happy and see the beautiful eyes shining with pleasure and happiness, so beautiful. See his pictures is different, but to see him alive is very beautiful. Baba is very fair skin, but not very white and not very fair skin. Look at me. I was very fair and very lovely Baba.
Jai Baba, beloved avatar, Meher Baba. Thank you for coming, bringing your light and love with you. We are here tonight to celebrate dear Mehra's reunion with our beloved Baba. Mehra J. Irani. She was born January 7, 1907, and reunited with her beloved on May 20th, 1989. Meher Baba, the divine beloved of all hearts, has called Mehra his beloved. As Sita was for Ram, Radha for Krishna, Mary for Jesus. For this advent of Meher Baba, it is Mehra who plays the leading role. This role of being the chosen counterpart of the God-man amounts to the highest, purest, most spiritual relationship consisting of divine love, which the world cannot imagine. She plays one of the most important roles in this advent of the avatar. Baba said Mehra was the one who represented all the opposite attributes of God. Mehra Maha Maya, That is what Apasti Maharaj called the consort of the avatar. She is necessary to keep Maya in existence. Her presence in each advent is essential. Otherwise, the avatar could destroy the illusion in the smallest fraction of a second. Mehra Maha Maya is also a force and or a principal deity who creates illusion and dream of duality in the phenomena of universe. Without her presence, creation as we know it would be destroyed. Beloved Baba has said of his beloved, Mehra loves me as I should be loved, and that she was the purest soul in the universe. So beautiful, this moment that you're all together celebrating her love with our beloved Baba. And tonight we are very privileged to have Viola Marks joining us to talk about dear Mehra, her time, her amazing memories with her. I'm sure everyone knows Viola, but for those of you who don't, she's the daughter of Ella Marks, who was a dance student with Margaret Krask. And I remember her particularly coming to Baba House with Takes Hightower, and they both spoke about their time in Myrtle Beach and New York with Baba. It was amazing times. Dear Viola, she's an accomplished flamenco dancer. She has the purest heart, and whoever has seen her or have spent time with her cannot help but feel that loving energy that she has for Baba. And I know any chance she gets, she performs for her beloved. And she's had the pleasure of performing for Baba's beloved Mehra in Mehrabad. She was sharing with me, Viola was sharing with me as a toddler, when she was watching her mom and Margaret Krask dancing, that Baba in a way was planting the seed of, setting the pathway for her to, to become a dancer. And she spent many years volunteering in India with women by Mandali and particularly Mehra. So she will talk about that tonight. Perfect.
Jai Baba. I'll just start by reading the last message that Mehra sent, which was a Christmas card. And or maybe I should begin at the beginning. Baba. So before I met Mehra, I heard her voice, and it was on a tape cassette, and it was so gentle and so gentle. The gentleness and the love, I don't remember the words, but the gentleness of her voice. I didn't know who she was. I wasn't unhappy. I was happy. But I started to, tears come down from the sound of her voice. And it was through Miss Krask that I first heard words about Baba. And but she didn't tell me about Mehra at first, not until I was going to visit India, Mehrabad, and then she told me, when I go there, everyone will want to tell me what to do. And the Mandali are not Baba, so you don't do what you don't do. Your relationship is with Baba, except Mehra. And whatever she says, that you do as if it were Baba saying. This And also, my mother had met Baba and Mehera, and she had described her meeting of Mehera to me. Also Mani and Meru and Goher in the guest house when they were there in 52. And she used that same word, the gentleness, the purity. She had never encountered such beauty. And Mehera, I first saw from a distance. I was coming through the passageway between the caravan and Mandali Hall into the garden. And at a great distance, it seemed to me, there was a porch. And the porch was empty. And as I came around the corner, even though it's a distance, beautiful woman ever I'd seen came out of the door of the house onto the porch. And I remember feeling a little, and then a second, even more beautiful woman came out. And the distance between the entrance to the garden there and the porch, I don't remember. Finally sitting down, Mehera's company was so beautiful, and the atmosphere was so delicate, so pure, so intimate. And there were 4 other women, a mother and a daughter, and one woman who I'd met in Myrtle Beach. There might have been one more woman besides Meru, who was the first woman who'd come out of the house, and you must know it was Mehera who came out of the house, who is the most beautiful. So there was a quiet chit chat, and then Mehera said, "I don't know everyone here." And her beauty, really, the atmosphere, my breath was taken almost, and I couldn't stop looking at her. She had so much love, and she was so physically beautiful. And the daughter and mother introduced themselves, and then she looked at me. And geez, that's a whole story. I don't know. Meher Baba. Yes, so she didn't say, "Oh, who are you?" She wasn't harsh. She wasn't bold. She wasn't nothing but grace. Grace she was. So she said, and I don't know your name. So, being a little breathless, I tried to say it, and my given name is Wyatt. She said, "Violet." And I said again, quietly, but with more force, "Wyatt." And then she said, "Violet." And the one woman I did know just broke the atmosphere, started laughing, Wyatt, like Wyatt Earp. I almost imagine her slapping her leg, but I was so stunned by the breaking of the atmosphere. I didn't know, I was stunned. Mehera, though, just looked at me and said, "Oh, that's a boy's name." And I admitted. She said, "May I call you Violet?" And I didn't say anything. Of course, in her company, one would want just her presence made it so one wanted to just please her, do it she would want. And also Miss Brask had already let me know that she is, what she says is like Baba saying. But I didn't think that at all. I just wanted to please her. Her presence created the response. And she just, I didn't answer right away. And what flashed through my mind was I was named for a woman who is my grandmother, who was, my mother called her a powerful character, who lived in a White House with pillars and had servants, and the name Violet I associated with the people who lived in the tenant's house, who worked the farm. and just went through my mind like that. And then she said, or Viola, almost instantly. It sounded so musical. And because her company created the response, which was, whatever you wish, Mehera. And she said, I'll call you Viola. So that was my first meeting with Mehera. And it also characterized my relationship with Mehera. Mehera knew, knows, felt me. She knew me like nobody knew me that I knew. She knew me. And long I had wanted a girl sounding name. And even that, and she asked to call me a girl sounding name. And also, the atmosphere was so, I don't know how to describe, charged. Anyone who was in Mehera's company remembers how nobody would want their attention actually to be elsewhere than from Mehera. And that was certainly true for me as well. The mother and daughter had a Polaroid camera. Do you remember those? You can pull out the, take the picture and then pull it out. So they wanted to take pictures of themselves with Mehera, and Mehera is so gracious. Even you think how a camera can be invasive or intrusive, yes? But Mehera didn't. Mehera was so gracious. And so she had me sit in front of her, just here, and then Mehera was here, and then maybe the ladies were here. I don't remember. Anyway, the pictures were taken, and I just had this longing, oh, I wish I had a picture of Mehera. And how gracious, how thoughtful to everyone there. Mehera looked at one of the pictures. Now, this was the mother's and the daughter's photographs. So she wouldn't want to perhaps give away theirs. But what she said was, oh, this didn't turn out well. Would you like it? And it was a picture of myself and Mehera. And but she did it with such thoughtfulness for everyone. I noticed that. Even people would say of Baba that he would be saying something to someone here and it would hit home with someone there. A friend of mine told me of having that experience where Mehera was saying something to someone here and it hit directly home to her. And I too had that experience. Yes, so I'm sure many did. It's hard to describe Mehera's beauty. Mehera said to me, maybe there were more on the porch also, so maybe many of us. She said, no picture of Baba looks like Baba, because his expression was so animated. He was so alive. And the pictures don't move, but Baba was in motion. And in a way, I feel no picture looks like Mehera. Almost no recording sounds like Mehera, because of the her presence so imbued the beauty of her face and form, and so softened her voice. Now, another thing that Mehera did, I noticed in my letters from her, which I was rereading before coming to be and share with everyone. The first letters were just Dear Viola, Dear Viola, Dear Viola, Dear Viola. My mother had never been to India, and I had Dear Viola, many Dear Violas, dearest Viola, dearest Viola, just going through them till I brought my mom. And then to Meherabad and MeherSepas, that was, and every letter after that, Mehera, except maybe one or two, Mehera addresses Dear Viola and Ella. Dear Viola and Ella. And then as more of my family members came, letters and cards would come. Let's see, the last two cards, these weren't letters, she would send me a letter, maybe two, during the summer, and I would write to her, of course, and then Christmas cards. Yeah. So anyway, the last Christmas card that she sent to me, you'll see how inclusive Mehera thought of everything. And it started with a picture of Baba. This isn't the card itself, I just made a copy of it. It's the card itself is, it doesn't really show. It's a scene of bridges, and then inside she had put a picture of Baba, which you can see. This is just a copy. I didn't bring out the real cards. And it says, I am the ocean. No, I am the one so many seek and so few find, Meher Baba. And then Mehera's message I'll read, because it reflects Mehera. It's her words. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Dear Viola, Ella, my mother, Susan, my youngest sister, who had now been to India, Peter, my father, who'd been to India, Mary Ellen, who is a Baba lover in the town we lived in, Patrick and Pam, Baba lovers in the town we lived in, all Baba's children near you. And here's her message. Your MeherSepas family wish you Merry Mehermas and happy Babaful New Year 1989. Always keep beloved Avatar Meher Baba in your thoughts and in your hearts. Remember, it is not the speed with which you gain your objectives in life that count, but the time you spare and want to share with your beloved that really matters. So with each step you take in life, remember beloved Bob. Know that he is with you, guiding you, helping you on your journey home, which is to himself, who is the source of all goodness and love. Your MeherSepas family lovingly remember you and send much love to you in God Baba's precious love, Mehera. And I had heard that she had sent that same message to different groups, or at least I know to Kitty, because it had been read by someone, I'm not sure who, as the last message Kitty, Christmas message Kitty received. And this is another Christmas message. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai, dear Viola, Ella, Ron, I don't know who that is, but all beloved Baba's dear children near you. From Marazad Baba's home, loving greetings come your way. To wish you Baba's dear ones, Merry Meher, Happy New Year 85, in beloved Baba's bountiful love. May we all, in turn, love and remember beloved Baba more and truly obey him and hold on to him to the end of time. Your Marazad family remember you, dear ones, and send much love to you in beloved Baba's eternal love. Mara. And then at the bottom, so you know Mara's hand did not leave Marazad, so it was Meru who wrote out Mara's messages. And at the bottom, it says, dearest, hope this is not a repeat card, could not quite remember. And so intimate she was. So intimate. So there are numbers of cards with messages to different ones, and I'm not going to read any more cards, but maybe I wanted to share some stories. Now, the amount of time I spent with Mehera was really not great. I wasn't living in Marazad like Shelley when Mehera was there. She's the only Westerner besides, oh dear, she just passed. But who lived at Marazad while Mehera was there? Just Shelley? No, I didn't. And but when I was at Marazad, besides if I was in a play, Vesta. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, Vesta. Unless I was in a play and doing rehearsals, I would never be away from where Mehera would be, that I could also be. So if she was on the porch, I would always be there. I'll just share a few stories from my first visit. Among the things that happened, and that illustrates Mehera's amazing character and a little bit of, I don't know, playfulness, but something. So I couldn't help it. I would whisper in her ear and she in mine sometimes, and saying goodbye, everyone would embrace Mehera and kiss Mehera, and Mehera would kiss us. And so we would sometimes whisper. And this one time she whispered, oh, come back at nap time, but don't tell anyone. So as you remember, we would eat on the men's side at lunch, something. And then people would nap, and I would come up later again on the porch a second time. And then there would be tea. And so I ate my lunch and quickly, not to be noticed, quietly, made my way to a bench in the garden. And I'm sitting there waiting for Mehera and not to be seen or to let anyone know. I'm very quiet. And Meher, though, spies me, and she comes out and she said, "What are you doing here? It's Mehera's nap time. What are you doing? Get away from here." So Mehera said, "Don't tell anyone." Why? So, yes, Meher, I say, and I leave. But Mehera is expecting me. So I make my way back around, coming in the green gate area, and then tiptoeing, and I sort of peek around the edge of the little cottage where Rano had lived and Naja was living, Meher lived, and peek around, and Mehera's on the porch. So I go up, and she said to me, "I knew you would come." And these kinds of moments of Mehera's love and intimacy, anyway, she brought me into the dining room and fed me and treats, and was quite young, and talked to me. And again, I was mute. I couldn't talk. I felt so embarrassed. I just could listen and look at her and want to be with her and answer any questions she had. She took me to the garden. She introduced me to all the flowers and the plants and their names and how to garden and this and that. And then it was time for her to come on the porch, and disappeared and came back on the porch as though I'd never been there. And she called me more than once. And the first time that I danced for Mehera was at her invitation. Someone had told her I had studied dance. And we were just, in those days, so few people, as you remember. There weren't many people. The porch was fairly empty. And so we're sitting on the porch, and Mehera said, "Would you please do a dance?" So I got up and I tried to come up with something. Did a little dance. And Mehera said, "Oh," she said, "Oh." She's, "Oh." So she thanked me, and then when we were all leaving, she again whispered. We would sometimes whisper little secrets. She said, "Oh," she said, come back during nap time." So I came back during nap time, feeling already trained not to let anyone know. And I came up onto the porch and saw inside the house Mehera was sitting on Dr. Gohair's bed, and so was Dr. Gohair, and so was Naja, and so was Rano, and then Meher was in a chair. Maybe Rano was in a chair. All the Lady Mandali were there, and if you can picture Dr. Gohair's bed, behind which is Mehera's clothesroom and Mehera's room, and then there's that entranceway, and then the sitting room. So Mehera said, "I wanted them to see your dance. So dance for us," something to those words. I can't remember the exact words. Naturally. So again, there was no accompaniment, but I just tried to come up with this and gestures and love and just little folk movements and little simple ballet movements. And I'm getting tired and I'm losing my breath and I'm running out of things, but I'm still, going forward and dancing and a little more breath, And Mehera said, "Oh," she said, "Viola." And I looked and she said, I was so, now this, only Mehera could say this, Baba, to Shirley. But what graciousness, what love, what purity and sweetness, and how to make one feel lifted up. She said, oh, I was so enchanted, a word like that, by the dance that I forgot the dancer. Come and sit down. And it just that's all. Mehera's beauty, thoughtfulness, intimacy. One time I returned to Meherzad, after having been away for some time. And I went up to the porch to greet Mehera. Of course, we'd been writing a couple of letters a year, always Christmas cards. And she greeted me. I didn't think anyone else was there. It was just she and I. And there might have been, and I just didn't see. But what she said to me was, I've been waiting for you. Who says that to us? Who cares so much for us? Who loves us so much? I don't want to go on and on. I have a gazillion little stories I made notes of and beautiful things. Oh, in the introduction about Baba's fairness. One day, sitting on the porch, she would always find ways to draw people closer to Baba, it seemed to me. And she looked at my forearm, but it was very young. The inside of the forearm is quite a bit younger. And she said, oh, that was the color of Baba's skin, the color of the forearm. How to bring someone to Baba. And when she would describe Baba, I remember her describing Baba, it was as though we could see Baba. She described the slope of his shoulder, the nape of his neck, his beautiful slender legs. And yes, so let's see. There's so many things to share about Mehera, and I made a whole list of stories and things that I wanted to share about her. Oh, she told me how to wear makeup. I mean, not directly, like, oh, giving me advice, but she said, this is how we wear makeup. So just a little light bit on the eyes, just a little bit. And then she said to put rose water on my face, use rose water. And let's see. Oh, one day, again, Mehera's, one day I was sitting at tea. This was before there was anybody serving tea but Mehera. and I was just, you remember, I mean, everyone has had this experience, remembering her sharing that she would ask Baba to join them whenever they would eat. How she would caress Baba's image with her hands at the table, over the table, Baba's picture on the wall, and say words to this effect. Beloved Baba, help us to be worthy of your most precious love.
I'm sorry, Viola, we couldn't hear that. Can you come a little bit closer? We're missing parts of your your talk. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
No. Yeah, you're saying such beautiful things, and especially with the part you said that she told you, I've been waiting for you. That's so beautiful. Please go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. Best I be heard. Oops. I brought tissue in case I cried. So I didn't want you to see that. Baba. So what Mehera, I was remembering what you all remember too, of Mehera caressing Baba's image, his arm, and saying, beloved Baba, help us all to be worthy of your most, to this effect, these words, your most beautiful, precious love. Different, I don't think it was the same exact words each time, but you all remember that. And I remember too, in Meherabad, in the tin shed, she did likewise when they were there for a woman's arti, of caressing Baba's image. And this happened. I was looking at her and I was looking at her loving Baba, and her face became Baba's face while I was looking at her. That happened. And then I think I was startled or something, and then it was Mehera's face. And I remember Mehera telling me, sometimes I would linger, often I would linger after people left on the porch, and we would have some words. And one time she said to me, just she and I, she said, Baba said to me, Mehera, Baba said to Mehera, she said, Baba said to me, anyone who loves him one pointedly, wasn't maybe one pointedly, but that was the idea, the exact words, can sleep until he comes again. Doesn't, can be with him. So at the time I felt, oh, she's encouraging me so that when Baba comes again, if I can love him one pointedly, I don't have to be born in. But then now that I'm older, I realized that's what Baba was telling her for her. And you all know that she said she'd always been a lady. So it is my own, those two things. I just thought, oh, good. So when he comes again, she will too. I hope that's so. How can I know? But that's, somebody recently told me that Adi Kearani had said that also. Who knows? I don't. I wanted to share something else about Mehera. Let's see. Oh dear, there's just so much to share. Yes, so the story I was telling was sitting at tea with Mehera. Maybe Heather was there, just the earlier residents at the time were there, as I remember. I don't know who was there. I just was looking at Mehera and I thought, I don't even have anything precious to give Mehera. And my grandmother had given me three tiny little pearl earrings and a pearl necklace and a pearl ring. And they were my most precious treasures. I was wearing the earrings. I thought, I'm going to give these to Mehera. Yeah. Not then and there. So then maybe it was then and there. I don't remember, but I gave them to her. But I also remember at one point I felt a struggle inside myself. Or maybe after I gave them, I felt they were my grandmother's. And then I had a little back feeling, yes. And so next thing I knew, I was visiting and Mehera presented the earrings to me. But I'd worked so hard maybe to give them to her and overcome my back feeling. I couldn't accept them. And the next thing I knew, I was visiting another day, and Mara gave me a stack of gifts, on top of which were some chapels that had been given to her, the clothes and scarves and different things. And so I knew to accept them. And she told me about the chapels. She said, now don't, they're very fine leather. Don't wear them at Meherabad. It's too rough there for those shoes. I remember her saying that to me, but I still have those shoes. And of course, let's see, other stories. Oh, my second trip to Meherabad, I had really thought I'd been asked to play the part of Rabia for Mara's birthday play. And I don't know, I thought I was going to go off and be a saint. And children, and Eric would say things like, if people acted with their whole hearts, they could become what they acted. So, wouldn't that Baba like that? Be a saint. And so anyways, far from it when I went home. And I came back and I was just so disappointed with myself and my behaviors, everything. I was weeping. I didn't want to see Mara. And I couldn't see Mara. And this is before there was a pilgrim center. And I couldn't go to Meherabad. Unlike, not missing a day at the porch, I just couldn't face her because I couldn't stop weeping. So somebody came to my room at Meherabad because we could stay for some nights. But Mara is asking for me. So how could I not go? I went, but I could not stop weeping. And I tried to be in the background, but just the tears. And everybody's leaving, and always Mara had given me special little looks and all of that. And I couldn't even see them. I was just weeping. So I go to kiss her goodbye, and she says, wait. Everybody's left now, and I'm waiting. And Mara went into the house. She came out with a little piece of chocolate, and she was to give to me. And I went to take it. She said, no, she said, open your mouth. And she put the chocolate in my mouth. And all the sorrow washed off. I got I don't have a million of these stories, but I have a lot of stories. Baba, I think it's time to perhaps stop. I'll say one more story. Yes, I'll say this last story. My last trip to, maybe two last stories, and then I promise I'll stop. There are other little stories in between, and there are beautiful letters and beautiful quotes that show Mara from her words in the letters. And she would share about, what was happening there, how the garden was and the rains and how their holidays were and who was coming, who was going. This one's parents came. This one was expected. That one had to go home with the residents. This, about the play, but they play. She would share all these things. And she would also say things of advice to me. Maybe you'd like to hear advice. Well, I'm not going to look for them advice. I will say the early letters all ended with, I love you in Baba's sweet love. quite personal. Nobody loves like that now. Probably only Mehera and Baba love like that. Every letter of the early letters. So fast forward many years. Turns out this is my last trip to be in Meherabad and Mehersad, and I didn't have that many. I didn't spend that much time with him, but the time I spent was so intimate. In the months I was there, she treated me like her special friend. So anyway, again, I'd been quite disappointing. And Mehera, I'd noticed, wasn't giving me the special glances at the porch, or I don't remember that we were whispering special things to each other anymore. And I was feeling she doesn't want me. And I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear to be there. She doesn't want me. So one day someone went to visit Khorshid and asked me to come with. It was a Mehersad day, and I was in so much pain. It was a relief not to sit in pain. So I went to visit Khorshid. And the next time I was in Mehersad, Mehera again pulled me aside. She said, "Where were you?" I said, "I was at Khorshid's." And she said, "Always be here." On the porch with her. Always be here. She said, "Khorshid takes all my friends." So even though I was not a good friend compared, she was the loving friend. She kept me as her friend. No friend like that. Baba and Mehera. And as I was leaving that last trip, not knowing it was the last time I would see her, again, there weren't those special attentions, and I'm leaving the porch. I'm thinking, Mehera doesn't even know I'm leaving India. And I was just feeling like, oh, what's happened? I've just behaved so badly. I have lost Mehera. Yeah. And then I hear, because we would sometimes whisper to each other, "I love." She would whisper to me, I'd whisper to her sometimes. So I heard from the porch as I'm walking down the steps with Janet. And at the bottom of the steps of the porch, I hear Viola, in that beautiful voice, so gentle, so rich. It was playful. She said, "Yeah, Viola," she said. And I turned to her and she said, "I love you." And she clapped her hand. She said, "I said it first." And then she said, "When you come next time, be happy." And she gave me 3 things to do. And the one thing I don't want to share with people, because I don't want everyone else to do it, so that maybe it won't happen for me. It's the only thing I can share. And that was happier. Anyway, I can't say them all because I can't remember them all, and I didn't bring my notes on that one. She was happier. She said, this is the one I didn't want to share, but Mehera's unselfish. And she said, "Ask Bob when he comes again, that you can be with him, serve him." Yeah. So we can ask that. But I didn't want you to know that because I thought, well, if you're all serving and there won't be room for me. Can you believe that? Anyway, so I'll close with that. Thank you. And maybe I'm grateful to you, Paul. I'm grateful to Marinaz for inviting me and encouraging me, and your love for Baba and Mera that encouraged me, and everyone's love for Baba and Mera. And I'm just sharing this with you. That's all.
Jai Baba Viola, so beautiful. My goodness, as you were talking about dear Mehra, I was feeling, I'm still feeling her presence so much. It's just like we were there with you. And I want to ask you, when she gave you that chocolate, what you said something washed away. What was it that, can you repeat it?
All of my sorrow, all of my sorrow, all of my sorrow, all of my shame, all of my anything keeping me from Baba. I didn't weep again.
Do you feel she washed away that lingering, maybe it was some karma or something that she washed it away for you?
I don't know. I know she loves us.
Yes.
Baba in us. And she, like Baba, nurtures. I felt nurtured, cared for, seen, known, cherished. And that's how Mera's love is. Baba's love in Mera. What is that quote of Mani's, that she is the immaculate mirror. Her purity makes her an immaculate mirror that reflects Baba's love.
I see Elizabeth's hand is up. Jai Baba, Elizabeth, please open your mic.
Jai Baba, I'm not very shy, so anyway, well, first, that really was beautiful, and I had not understood the delicacy and intimacy before because I never got to meet Mera. I think I either have one or two letters from her, and I know I've got one, and I have it in a safe place, but I just can't imagine. I've always wondered about her. I mean, what she was like, but I felt like I could almost imagine it from your description and the intimacy you shared with her. And I was at the center when she passed away, so I feel very connected to her, even though I never met her. I don't know, I just know that I'm really connected to her. And I just appreciate your sharing that because I got a little bit of a feel for what she was like. So thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Jai Baba, that was so beautiful. I see Diane and Terry have their hand up. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Hi,
Hey, Baba.
Viola.
Hey, Baba.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that with us. What a treat, honey. It was really, because I never met them either, not Mani, not Mera. I didn't get to meet any of them because I came too late to the party, I guess. But I appreciate learning from other people what you can hear versus what you read, because it just feels, I don't know, feels more real, I guess. So thank you so much, because I know you're a little shy.
Viola, I want to ask you, myself that did you taste Mehra's cooking?
I don't think so. I mean, she fed me different things. I don't know if she made them or Nadja made them. I assume Nadja did. I don't know. But you remember, just to try to bring back being in her company, do you remember the scar on her forehead that looked sometimes like a bird going up into the sky, sometimes like a heart? Do you remember?
Yes, yes.
And her eyes, someone reminded me that her eyes, the color, there's like a little gold rim around the outside of the color. It wasn't a dark color. It was kind of not a dark. Her eyes.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Viola, I had a question, and I think I missed part of your talk. Your mother met Baba, right?
Both parents.
Did you? Yeah. Did you also meet Baba or no?
My mom was 8 months pregnant with me when she met Baba.
Uh-huh.
And Baba flicked her tummy, she told me. And Mehru told me that that meant that everything would come out all right.
Okay.
So it's as close as I got.
Wonderful.
Jai
Yeah,
Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you, Faishijan. Parvinjan, your mic is open. Did you want to ask Viola something?
Is it open? Okay.
Jai
Maybe
Baba.
Baba opened the Meher Baba, Viola. I just want to say thank you very much. It was so beautiful and so touching. And I don't know how to thank you for being here and spending your time with us. It was really precious. Thank you very much.
I wish I could hug you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Baba, Parvinjan.
Thank you, Baba. Right? Isn't that what Mansari would tell us? Yes.
Jai. Yes.
Jai Baba. I just want to share with everybody, we've been so lucky that, dear Viola has invited us in the past to her place. And I just want to say how Baba's presence is so much felt there. And when she would eat, she would have Baba's picture next to her to have him just, share every moment with her. And it made such a deep impression in my heart whenever I remember that, to have Baba even sit at the table with you. And that's, I think, what's most important, to have our beloved and remembering his beloved Mehra. And every second, every moment, every breath we have. And that's what we are here for, to live that life. And just want to thank you, Viola.